Karina, how you doing? Something went offline. Everything just went flat. I ended up restarting the computer and it worked. So I'm quite sure what happened then, to be honest with you. It's unusual. My internet didn't go off. I went downstairs. My TV's on. My phone was still connected to internet. So I'm just thinking, oh my God, I hope it's nothing to do with this new computer. Perhaps I'm just being a bit paranoid, but two legs up. Let me just reload. Two attempts to push up. See if we get a lower high here. I'm not sure what happened, to be honest with you. Hopefully it was a one-off, but everything just froze up. Strange. Channel down. Let me just sort something out. Channel break, new low. Two attempts to push up. Doesn't look like it's coming down. Strange. Hopefully it was a one-off. Fortunately, I wasn't in a trade either. Everything's up and running now, I think. Hopefully. Everything will stay that way. It's always possible stuff can just freeze up for a second. Okay, fingers crossed. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. Everything just died off. So, not sure whether there is something like that. It's hard to say at the moment, or whether it's just this. There's some support running there, so I don't know actually. I'm just going to leave it for now. Just wondering, wrong one. I'm just wondering whether we are just a bit ranging at the moment. Tough one. Yeah, so my apologies. I don't know what happened. Everything just disappeared. So I've just literally opened a stream. I haven't. My old stream that I started on just closes down, I think. I don't think it's ever happened before. Might have done. So if we had a triple test up here, would I take that? I'm not sure really. Depended how good it looked. Let me just check everything's opening okay. I'm pretty sure it is.
Order submitted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, one contract. Yeah.
Order cancelled.
See, there is a bit of support here, so the thing could go up. It's always a possibility. But we are also bouncing at the top. Okay, there is a second entry short there. I'm just not taking anything because at the moment it looks like it's going a bit sideways. It's not forming anyway. So I think if you're going to trade it, it's either going to have to be at the tops or at the bottoms. But I think you've got to be careful here because we may decide to push back up. I really don't know what's going on at the moment. I mean, we've opened overnights and we've just had more moving up, and then we've kind of just literally turned. So whether we are just sort of finding a place that people think it's a bit too expensive to buy it up here, and then it corrects. Tough one. Yeah, I'm just looking. There are orders all the way along here. Yeah, I'd like to see it come down a little bit more. It's hard to say. There's always a possibility that it could be something like that. Usually we push down, we'll move sideways, we'll connect with a few of these areas, and then it'll push down. So that's a possibility. We kind of did the same. Went up, went across, went up, went across, went up, went across, and then we had that drop. So it's hard to say at the moment. It's a bit too early, really. I wouldn't want to trust and just go short here because I think there may be something there. We're finding some support here. We all of a sudden in a channel turned and came back down. So it could just be ranging. So we could end up bouncing here and coming to the bottom. We could end up pushing through it and coming to the top. I've got no idea. No idea. No. So we got a leg up there with a break, 2 attempts to go lower. And now I'm looking for a test of this up here. So if we get a decent bearish bar here at this level, I don't think it'd be the worst trade in the world. I'm not a huge fan of them, as in having enough confidence to take them. I prefer to go with the lower highs. They're a safer option because sometimes you get a bearish bar here, sometimes it will trigger and push straight up and stop you out. Sometimes it'll come down. You never quite know. I certainly wouldn't take a trade this low down, not with these highs up here. Not only that, you'd be going short right in the middle of that lot. So it may work. It's hit and miss. It could do either. It's too dangerous trading in here. Trust me, if you do something, it triggers you, stops you out. You do nothing, it ends up working. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So it's just not high enough for me, to be honest with you. If I wanted to take a trade here, it would have to be right at the top, preferably clearing any possible liquidity to the left. It's just nothing you can do. It's quite messy at the moment. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, see, there is a chunk of sell orders up here at 70, which you'd expect. There's orders down here at 60, which you'd expect. And there's some around here as well, which you'd expect. So there's shorts above it and longs below it. So there's also some down below the lows of the day as well. So we could have a leg down with a few attempts and then a second leg down. The fact that it hasn't got very high there could tell me that's probably enough, and it may just now push down. So this may be the sort of the factor that takes us down. Who knows? Sorry, I disappeared earlier. My system shut down for some reason. It looked like an internet problem, but my internet seemed okay down. So whether I don't know. Just keep my fingers crossed it's not the computer build. Everything's been fine. I've had no issues with it. So if I was going to get something, I can't see what it could be. When I bought all the parts, I got it all checked by someone who knows what they're talking about, that there's no issues with certain hardware's not working with other certain bits of hardware. Little Hammer, how you doing, bud? So nothing you can do. I built it, mate. I just bought the parts from Amazon. I'll show you if I can hook in. I couldn't get into Amazon yesterday for some reason. I can't hook into Amazon. Why not? That's the trouble when you get a new computer. You've got to re-sign into everything. It's not your cup for some reason. It's so bloody annoying. Bloody Amazon. But no, I just built it. It's I built the last one that I used about 4.5 years ago. But I tried to get as sort of quick and as powerful as I can to sort of future-proof myself. So I got a Ryzen 9 9950X3D. I got 64 gig of DDR5 RAM, you know, a good quality, some Vengeance stuff, 600 hertz, 6000 hertz. I got an Asus GeForce RTX 5070, 2 terabyte hard drive. It's all liquid cooled. So, you know, I got good parts. I think if you get good parts, they tend to, but it cost me around about £1,900 to build. But I looked at someone to make it the same spec was £900 more. So, £870 more for someone to build it for me. So it took me a best part of a day. They're not too tricky. You know, there's plenty of stuff around the internet, around YouTube and that, showing you how to do certain things. There's a second entry long there, but I can't bring myself to take a trade just at the moment. It may work. It's if we get a higher low, the only bit that concerns me is we pushed up here, and then the next couple of times we pushed up. Now I remember saying, because we couldn't get up, that could be the catalyst that pushes us further, and it's exactly what we've done for a possible second leg. So just the fact that we didn't reach these highs concerned me, that we were losing maybe momentum and we could drop out. So there was a second entry long there. You could argue there's a triple test. I bet you a pound to a penny that there'll be traders who bought that thinking range rules. But the trouble is that to me is a little bit of a red flag, which is why I stayed out of anything here. And I think if you're going to take something at the moment, especially with when we push down into a range, often we see it all the time, down across and down and vice versa. So when we had these two pushes up that couldn't get to the top, that kind of made me think about we could get a drop out. Now we could come down and bounce off the lows and take off, who knows. But I have, you know, a relatively good feeling about when to stay out of a trade, and that was kind of one of them. But I bet there'll have been traders taking that 2 legs down, second entry long. I bet you there will have been. Someone says 0-1, so someone's taken it. So maybe there is a channel, a larger channel. I wasn't super sure. There certainly could be, which means then you'd expect it to come down here. But I'm just not super sure at the moment. It's certainly something to be aware of. Trouble is, we've got a bit of a range here now. Most breakouts fail. But under the circumstances here, I'll be inclined to take a trap. Second entry short here, like breakout pullback and then go further down. It's hard to say at the moment. But what I will say is I like that, which is a channel down. So if we can get 2 legs up, there may be traders long in this back into this range. So if we can get a second entry short at the EMA and then maybe can't get above here, that might not be a bad short. But the trouble is, when we're down at the lows, overnight low or close to them, where the bars close, same again, you've got to be a bit careful shorting into them. But I do like that channel. So if we can get a second entry short, it may not even do it. We've pushed up a couple of times and already it's looking bearish. So I'm not sure about this bigger channel, but I'm just going to leave it there for now. So let's see if we get a little pullback here. I like the fact that that bearish bar's triggered. I wouldn't want to take a short there, way too far from that EMA. So it may trigger it and push up, which may give us, it may come back and retest this. So if you took that short now, you'd be flapping like a good one. So would I treat this as a failed breakout back into the range? No, I wouldn't. As we've come down into it, I wouldn't. I still think this thing's got more chance of coming down to these lows. See, if I'm looking at Bookmap, there's two things I'm looking for. Orders down here, which are around about the sort of 55 to 58, which is down here, which tells me this is more likely to come. And there's short orders around about 63-ish, which is around about this line here. So 2 legs up to the EMA, some sellers thinking about pushing this lower. So my gut feeling is this thing's probably got lower to go. So I wouldn't want to trade this back into this range. That's how I understand Bookmap anyway. I'm certainly not an aficionado by any stretch of the imagination, but I still think this thing's got lower to go. I wouldn't take that. It's too far from that EMA. I want it at least at that EMA to pick up those sell orders. Those sell orders are around about the 3, which is around about there. So I'd like just a quick pop above this, pick up those sell orders, close below it, and give us a bearish bar here. There's a double bottom there, so that's fine. I can recount this. So we get a higher low here. We push up, trigger the higher low, pick these sell orders up, give us a bearish bar. We've got 2 bars of liquidity then to push below. Now, that's if that works. It may well push straight up. I'd like this to push that little bit higher and end up relatively bullish. So we've still got 2 legs up, and that is a double bottom, so you can recount it. For me, I'd want to trigger that bull bar as well, that higher low. I wouldn't want to go higher low into the EMA and into possible support, but is it going to push up and hit those sell orders? It's got to push above that bar for me for any interest. I wouldn't be interested in it otherwise. I know there's sell orders up here around about 2.5 to 3. So I'd want it to hit the EMA, trap some possible longs there, and pick up some short orders for a drop down. But is it going to? So, little push up, come on. Just going to get an order up here. Just
Order submitted.
It's going to get up there, is it? Okay, those orders are at 63. So if we can push above here, we've got a little micro channel with a break. New high, pick up some short orders. I don't think it's going to, though, push above that higher low there. That higher low never triggered, but it's still a high low nonetheless. But I'd like it to push above here, and I don't think it's going to be fair. May do. Now we got a bit of a doji. So we've got a channel down, 2 attempts to push higher. Go on, push above. Hit them orders. So still want it to go a little bit higher. I wanted it to, hold on a minute. It's just too big for me, that is. Damn. Look, we're at the bottom now. That's a shame. That's frustrating. It's exactly what I wanted. 2 legs up and then the bars close right at the bottom.
Order cancelled.
Never mind. I just wanted it to push above there a little bit and then close about here, but it filled that gap completely. So there's just, it may continue down, but I'm not getting in right at the lows. That's a bit frustrating. Speedy, how you doing, my friend? Didn't see you there, mate. Sorry. So nice channel down there. 2 legs up and down we come. If we'd have triggered above there, I wouldn't have minded taking that on the engulfing. But we didn't. We just sort of crossed over, ticked up and came back down, which is a bit frustrating. I do like the way we pushed up and tested this twice, the bottom of this support area, and then that second time down it came. But unfortunately, it closed. Well, it closed up here, but below the bar was right at the bottom at the lows. So, if it would have been lovely if we'd have broke above there and closed about there, that would have been lovely. I'd have been happy with 2 points there down to them lows. Once it gets below there and there, you expect a little few extra ticks. So I'd have probably got me 3 if I'd have been there somewhere. I'd have even taken that on there. I'd have got me points. So it's 4 points that, well, 3, 7. So I'd have taken that on the engulfing there. So all I needed to do was to get down to there. So that would have been plenty. Straight down, across, back a couple of ticks and down. So, and that would have worked. It's just unfortunately, it just didn't quite do it. There's always something. It always falls short just by something, which is a bit frustrating. But what can you do? You've just got to sit here and wait for it. And if it happens, take it. If it doesn't, stay out. But it is frustrating when it seems to fall short quite a lot. But we had a little micro with a break new high. Everything was kind of right. It was the right place at the EMA, and then all of a sudden it just crossed over, ticked back, and came right down to the bottom, which is frustrating. See, some traders would just stick a sell order in here, maybe put a stop up here. But we wait for that bar. So not only have we got to wait for it to get back to a certain area of interest, we've actually got to wait for then a signal bar to appear. So we're kind of waiting for the perfect storm. A lot of traders, obviously, if we're coming down, when price gets back to the EMA, they may drop an order in there, put a stop up here, put a thing down here. But for us, we kind of want our cake and eat it. It doesn't always work that way, which is frustrating. Okay, what are we doing here now? Have we finally reached the bottom? Is this a high or low? Who knows? See, I'd expect a decent sized correction or some kind of a pullback, so there may be something like that. But if there is, it's not got back over here, so it's going more sideways. So I'd be inclined to think maybe that isn't the case. But maybe this is a few attempts to push back up, and maybe it will continue to go down. I don't know at the moment. It's doing this a lot. Spent quite a lot of the day not being super clear. So I went from there. Maybe if we go from there, that might look a bit better. Maybe not really, does it? Not really. So channel break, new low. So that's played out. That's played out. This could be a couple of legs up. Back to this. Who knows? Lance, your thumbnail confused me today. I didn't think you were live. Didn't think you were live. Live? Oh, I see what you mean. Okay, so there's a reason behind there, mate. So I set my thumbnail as normal, and my stream was normal, and all of a sudden everything went blank. Well, not strictly blank. I just lost connection to everything. So I literally just had to. I checked my internet. Everything seemed to be working everywhere else, just my computer. So I just literally rebooted my computer and everything worked. So then I went to look for my key and I couldn't find it. So I just literally clicked the stream button. So that's probably why it doesn't look like my typical stream there, bud. So second entry short. Tempting. It's tempting, but I'm just not sure what's going on here at the minute. We've bounced around the bottom, so it's a bit hard to say there. I don't want to just assume this thing's coming back down because that's played out. So I've really now got to give this a little bit of time. If we can push below that EMA and get something that looks like it's continuing down, then that may be a better option. So that bar has triggered. So it is a second entry short. You could say there's a little kind of that type of thing there, but it could catch you out here. I'm just not super sure here. Could be something like that. But look now, all of a sudden it's having a quick bit of a push. So that would scare me there. So it's just a little bit too early to know exactly what's going on here. Now it's triggered. All of a sudden now it's crossed over and it's pushing up now. So if you took that trade, you'd be a bit nervous now. But we may get a lower high, which I think would be a better option. Trouble is, I don't like the fact that we've bounced here. So you got to be a bit careful here. So my guess is it's probably going to snap above there. The only chance that's got to be in safe if it triggers above this and then comes down, but I don't think it will. So when that triggers you for one tick and starts to work to the top, chances are, most often than not, it's going to end up breaking above there. Yeah, I can see it's tempting. I thought about it myself for a second, but it's just the temptation at times is there to take them and jump in. But now I'm a little bit more experienced. I tend to think a bit more. A lot of the time I'd see that and move straight for that red sell button and hit it. But now I don't do it as much. 1, 2, 3. You could argue that's a triple test. The fact that it's pushed out a bit higher, I'd have to wait a little bit here. To me, there'd be no reason why it would break above there and then to push above here and then come straight down. But it's a bit hard to say at the moment. I'm not super confident I know what's going on. Now, it is frustrating a lot of times. It will break above there and then end up going down that direction, which it looks like it's doing. You may argue that's a triple test. It's just something I don't really like about that. Just looking, it's all right. Bookmap's just doing that circle of doom thing. I don't quite know why that's doing that. I've actually got excellent internet speed, and as far as I know, I've got no issues with it. Everything seems good and strong here. Yeah, I'm knocking on 1 gigabit, so I've got plenty of speed here. So I don't know quite why that's happening. So let me just okay, that's interesting. I was just going to say, let me try this again. Now this is coming up, and funnily enough, Max just posted that literally now, 33 right this second, or someone has. So perhaps there is something. So maybe this will continue down some more. It looks like it will. So Max got it from there to there, missing that one and to there, but then we've got a break there. So that's interesting. So the more we kind of fidgeted down that line, the more I kind of thought about it, but I was just about to put that back there, and we've had a little break there. But it surprised me that that didn't work, but that one dropped. And then down we came. I can't see how you take a trade really there. You may argue that's a triple test. I'm not convinced. The fact that that second entry short triggered and stopped out could mean we come back to there. It's like a breakout pullback. Trigger that, push up a bit higher, and we end up having something, something like that. Who knows? So it's just not super clear at the moment. Anyway, if that is the case, we've had a break and we've had a new low buy tick. So perhaps we get this move down, a couple of legs up, and then something like that. That would take us to around about this level here. 2 legs up, 2 legs down, maybe a shoulder, head, shoulder, who knows. I've deleted me somewhere along those lines. You may take that down to there. I tend to think there's the 2 legs up with a couple of efforts to push higher, which failed, and that's why we had that drop. So we've had a break and we've had a new low by a tick. So what is it doing now? I wonder if there may be something. We've had this leg down, a couple of attempts to push higher, and then let me just clean some of this up. That doesn't look too bad to me. Touch, 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 fitting nice at the bottom. It's hard to say, really, isn't it? Not sure. Yeah. It's just something about Max I don't like. Mm. Okay, so maybe something like that. See if it touches, does anything here. See, if we bring that in, we've had a break and a new low, which may mean, excuse me, this may push up, but I can see a move down and 2 attempts to push up. So I'm just not super clear at the moment what I think it is. You're just constantly readapting, isn't it? I can adjust that a fraction. Fits okay there, but it can't go up any more. We got moved down with 2 legs up. Could be a triple test. It's a second entry short triple test there. It's very tempting, that.
Order submitted.
The size of it, though. Don't like that pullback. Too big.
Order cancelled.
Too big. I don't like the stem. It got to the kind of right area. You could argue a triple test again. We got like a little micro with a break to push up. See if we get a lower high. We have pushed up and then closed, and then it just pushed down. Really, there was definitely some selling there. Just don't like the way it pushed and then stopped all of a sudden. So, there is orders, sell orders at 55 right in the middle. So, who knows? You're playing the break, new extreme. Yeah. I'm aware of both. Got the break there, haven't we? New extreme by a tick. Trouble is, we've pushed up close to this area and dropped strong. Now, we did have that little pullback, but all of a sudden now we tried to get up and now we've had another push. So it's a tough one, isn't it? We've kind of, there's a bit of support along here, so it's just a bit, trouble is, it can be completely, it can be completely one or the other. The thing may just launch down to here, or it may just bounce here and turn. I think it's certainly going to go, it's more chance of going down than it is up, but there's no lower high anyway. You couldn't take that really anyway. It's about 15 ticks. 2, pull back nearly half of it. So that's a red flag straight away. If it had finished perfect there, then that may have been a different story. And this was a little different, but looking on the left side, we've got a little micro with a break and a push up. That actually looked better on the left side, because you can maybe argue the triple test then, but then when we drop below and then pull back, and all of a sudden it takes most of the heat of that bar before it came back straight away, you'd be thinking you made a mistake. So when it's doing that, and generally on the left chart here, we're going up, down, up, down, up, down. So there's a certain amount of uncertainty. Have we reached the bottom? Now it's time to pull back, or is there still further to go? Excuse me, I'm just going to take a quick pee, just a second. I'll be a second. So we had that big move up and we had that pullback. So I dare say there's probably, after that pullback, probably more traders possibly thinking about, now obviously we don't all finish overnight. You know, a lot of these trades are obviously held a lot longer. So when we had that kind of bit of a pullback, you don't know whether traders are going to get back in that area, in which case there's kind of more protection there. It's hard to say. But it does look like we're certainly trying to push below it, but then we may, it's hard to say. It still looks like it's got some more to go. I'd like to see it break below there. And then we got this possible measured move, so that may be just a bigger correction. I dare say, though, there's going to be buyers. So I can see strong buyers at 50, which is down here. 50 and 50, 53, 54 below this level. So we've broken below this level here. Now, will it get down this far? Who knows? It's around about where that measured move is. So we may do, but there is orders coming in now. And there is orders at 50, which is just below this level here. So we may have that quick flick down and then a move up. But so that trade there actually turned out to work quite well, didn't it? But trouble is, you never know. You don't know it's going to do that. But so measured move, we're bouncing at the measured move. In fact, we're actually at the measured move. That's where I've got it to there. So we've ticked on it twice. So from the top right to there, 2 legs back up, 2 little bounces, measured move made. So now what's going to happen? You just automatically assume this thing's now going to take off, but It may go a bit lower. So if there is a channel there, that's, you consider it as an overshoot. I just wouldn't automatically jump in there. I've made that mistake in the past plenty of times. So that looks half decent to me. So it may come down a touch lower. It may take off. Who knows? So if I now put that max channel back and see what that looks like. We've had a break, a new low, another attempt to push high. See, I'm not massively, I don't like this. I don't like this big wedge here for this bigger channel. Whereas if I take away that, that looks much better to me. Now, I don't always disagree with Mac, but I actually prefer this. I like the way it's touching, really nice. It's fitting nice. You can see there. It's fitting nice there, along there as well, along that midline, and touch, nice at the top. You may argue there's a little breakout there, but on someone else's chart, you wouldn't get that. It's probably nothing. So that looks better to me. We've had the break of this. We've made a few attempts, and it just couldn't hold, and it dropped back. And we've had two legs up to this area, and that for me is where it started to work down. And it looks nice at the bottom, so I actually prefer that. I just like the way we've had two legs back up to it, and that's where we started to come down. But who knows? You never quite know. But I've been trading long enough now to know, to sort of have my own mind. I always used to copy Mac. I like other opinions. I think it's always good to have an opinion if you're not sure, but if I don't like it or I like something else, I'll stick with that. I think it's by far the best way to do it because you've got to learn yourself. And if you don't like something, there's a reason why, and you've got to kind of stick to your guns and kind of learn that if you were wrong, you know, why were you wrong? So I actually prefer that. Now, there may have been a small overshoot, sort of break there, and that, but I'm not sure. I'm not massively convinced. As I say, it might look slightly different on someone else's chart. So perfect measured move and a bounce. But we've got a channel there, so we could get two legs up and it may come down some more, or it could take off. I'll be surprised if that doesn't. It may not drop below that a little bit. I'm still seeing strong orders down here at 50. So I'd like to see this hit this level here. Right there. Maybe a fraction lower. So even though we've got a channel there, I wouldn't want to take a short here at the moment. Because we've hit that measured move. We've had 2 bounces and there is support there. So, one, it's too far from that EMA. It is a second entry short. You may argue with the break, 2 pushes up, but I'd never take a trade that far from that EMA. Especially into the lows, especially if we've had an overshoot, that could create movement in the opposite direction. Although I'd like to see prices come down to there and pick those big orders up. They may not. So it does look like a shoulder ahead and a shoulder, doesn't it? So if it's going to bounce and push up, this is kind of where I'd expect it to happen. You can see we've had a few bounces there and very similar there. So my guess is it's probably going to push higher, but I would like to see it pick up some of those buy orders there. It may clear out some liquidity there. It has a little bit. So it's cleared out any possible liquidity. See if it picks up these orders and then moves up. It has picked up some of them, but there's still some there. There's some a bit further down as well, around about here. Yeah, Dan said he was hoping for a second entry short. It's a million miles away in retrospect, that is. It's just too far. The fact that it's worked irrelevant, really. If you're going to take one there, it would have to be up here. I don't know whether I would because of this. I am expecting it to start to move up here because we've had that measured leg. It's picked up a lot of those orders there, actually. Or they've either been yanked or they've just been changed to just buy orders. There is still some down here. But as it's see, if you're going to buy in an area, it's probably easier to buy below liquidity, isn't it? Because a lot of the time we know price will, whether it'll get down that far, I can't see that it will. So if you want to buy here a reduced price after 2 legs down for a move up, this is kind of where you'd want to do it. This is where I'd be thinking about doing it. Buy here, put me stop down here and try and get back up here. Okay, so we've picked up the rest of them orders. Now let's see what happens now. There is still more at 47.5, which is down here. We are starting to go a bit sideways now. So my gut feeling now is it's probably going to start to work up. See, if you a slight adjustment there makes that fit actually not too bad, and it still doesn't fit too bad along that midline. See, we've pushed up to it there. Who knows? Okay, I need some liquid. I'm just going to go make myself a quick coffee. I'm certainly not taking a trade down here really anyway at the moment. We're just going sideways and we're slowly creeping. There's nothing you can do around here. It needs to get up here or somewhere. At the moment, though, we've had those two measured legs. We've broken below it, but now we're going sideways. So if I was to take a stab, I'd say it's got more chance of pushing up. Now, whether it gets up to this area and continues down more or whether it takes off, I got no idea. So it's not the easiest of days. These days, sometimes you've just got to be a bit patient and just try and figure out what's going on. So I'm going to leave you with that chart for a minute. I'm going to be about 3-4 minutes just to make a cup of coffee and I will be Okay, what are we doing? We've pushed down. I thought we might do. So we picked up a lot of those orders down there at 47 and some. Cleared out this area, and now this thing's pushing up. So interesting. Is that enough of a correction? So let me just. So there is a higher low there, but we're close to that EMA. So does look like that. Shoulder, head, shoulder. So now. I wonder if it's going to end up being something like that, something even larger. It's funny, someone else has got that. So it's hard to say. Let's have a look what Mr. Wade's got. Okay, so, well, I say Mr. Wade, we've got Taylor. He's got that now. He's got a little bit of a, yeah, that's what I mean. See, these charts can change a little bit. Look, he's got that big bear bar there. I haven't. I've just got a stem. So you can cut through a stem, although it means the same thing. So he's looking at that as well. We've had a touch on the bottom. So he's looking at that. So Thomas Wade looks like he's looking at the same thing as well. He is, yeah. So I actually kind of prefer that. So, yeah. It's hard to know, really, isn't it? There's no. Trouble is, if you think it's that and you're looking to go short there and the market's got other ideas, I suppose there's always a possibility we've got a big move out like this and up. We could make a leg down, like the channel down. We could make a correction, come down for another leg. Who knows? There's just so many different scenarios when it's like this, especially if you haven't got nothing short. Now, these are this is the top and this is the next swing. Now, if you take that into consideration, the rest actually doesn't look too bad. Okay, excuse me just a second. Sorry about that. The parcel delivery. Okay, channel break new high. What do you know? Thing wants to come down some more. Can you do? Up, across. You can't really take that, I don't see, to be honest with you. There's the second entry short, really, with the bars no good. You may argue that you could take that one as well. I think it's the same. I don't know. I wouldn't take that personally. For me, it would have to be a lower high. Unfortunately, we just didn't get one. It's just kind of a story of our life lately. We just we know where we want to be, and we just don't get one. And then all of a sudden, straight down, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 points almost straight down. What can you do? What can you do? But this, to me, now is, I think, more likely. Whether I put it there or something. Yeah. I think it's more likely something like that. I mean, we came down, we pushed back up, and we're starting to move down relatively strong now. Whether we'll get much further or not, I don't know. But it's been so bullish, isn't it? The last, we had that kind of big move up, and then we kind of went a bit sideways for a day, and then we had another leg. We start with a quick drop, and then had a great big move up, and up more, some more. We're not actually far from those 800s. I wonder how long it'll be before we get to the 700s. We're not a million miles away. Maybe before the end of the year, who knows? So I'd like a second entry short, really, to think about going lower. So I would suggest that you could probably say that's within the same channel. What does it look like here? Same again, across and then down. We need a couple of legs up, maybe a leg and a leg. I don't know. It's not easy lately, I've got to say. I don't know. The more experience I get, the harder things become. Maybe it's kind of just seems like that. But I think the more information you kind of take on, the more complicated your decisions become, maybe. I certainly get more and more strict the longer I've been trading, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's certainly better to be on the side of caution rather than on the side of careless, which is very, very much where I used to be. So, orders at 52, which is up here. So, get a push, maybe test this line again. There's short orders at 52. Some at 50, so I think I'd like to get a couple of pushes up there before we do anything else. But I mean, the thing is, if you look out, it's easy to mark this trade after the fact, because if you go like that, you say triple test, it came down. You go like that. 1, 2, 3, triple test, it come down. It's so easy to mark the chart after a trade. After the trading day, because you know what happened. You know, you can clearly see we had that leg down. We made a few attempts to go higher, the bearish bar there, and that was the one that took us down. And same here, we channel break new high, couple of more attempts, and that's when it took off. We did push down there, and it seemed to range for a while, but channel maybe an overshoot there. On this chart, it was a little micro with a break, but then down it came. It's easy to spot these after the fact, because when you're testing this area down here, you don't know whether this is the place that it's going to take off. So you automatically a little bit uneasy about getting into a short. And that's when you're looking for a lower high, which you don't get. Same here. We're hitting some support here. You don't know whether this is going to take off and come to the top. So we're waiting for a lower high. Same again, which you don't get. So that it makes trading harder because we don't know where it's going to go. You know, marking a chart up like this at the end of the day is a doddle because you can't unsee where it went. But when you've got to take a risk on something like that, yeah, it's a triple test, but we push down nice and strong, and all of a sudden we take nearly half of it back with that stem. So same again, there's that kind of that question. Exactly. After the fact, Mac, yeah. It's easy. You know, we can all mark half a dozen trades after the fact. But in reality, in real time, you haven't got that luxury. You've just got to rely on what experience you've got. And you kind of just how you feel about how it looks. You know, and it also depends. If I'm trading evaluations, I'll take riskier trades. If I'm getting close to payments, I'll take less trades and be a bit more strict. So, you know, you can't rule out emotions. It's impossible. You know, you can get better at dealing with them, but you'll never completely rule emotions out. There'll always be something. That's unless you're risking $1. But you never make any money. But, you know, you're always going to have emotions, but it's about managing them and allowing your experience to sort of get that little bit stronger than your emotions. You know, once you get experience and you've been making money 2, 3, 4 years, you're going to have the confidence and self-belief that you're good enough to make money. So, you know, your emotions will play less of a part. But as I say, you know, if I start evaluations, I'll be taking way more riskier trades. If I've just got my first PAs, I'll be taking slightly more riskier trades. If I'm like now, I'm over 2,000 each account and I'm not far away from a payment, that's when I'm kind of, those emotions are saying, hold on, you know, and maybe kind of, you know, you kind of get out of a trade a little bit sooner than you should. You can explain, yeah, absolutely. It's easy after the fact. But, you know, in real time, you haven't got that. I mean, the thing is, Max said it himself. He takes 1 to 3 trades a day, maybe an average of 2. If there really was a dozen high probability trades, you'd be a fool not to take them. You would take them, but, you know, there are ones that are more obvious and easier to spot, and there are others that have slight downsides to them, like it's this. Yes, it's got this, but there are risks. And the trouble is, Mac even marks riskier trades, and every single one of them works. So does that tell you it's okay to take riskier trades? You know, riskier trades, I think a lot depend on the trader. I'm too much of a coward to take riskier trades. But, you know, riskier trades, you'd expect to make money out of them, put it this way. You'd expect them to work more than they don't. You know, but it depends on you, really, doesn't it? Everyone's different. I'm a bit of a gutless coward lately, but it's kind of just how it is. Setting the trend lines after. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've had about 3 different trend lines down here. If you settle on them, if you put that trend line there at the beginning of the day, I'd know exactly where I'd be comfortable with taking shorts. But, you know, when you kind of, you're constantly redeveloping things. You know, I had something a bit tighter, then I had something kind of crossing this way, then I had something bigger. So, you know, you've only got really half the picture. You've got to kind of make out the best you can of the rest with what experience you've got. It does get easier. In some cases, I think it's got harder. Because I think the more information you have in your head, sometimes the more possibility of doubts in a trade. But I'm finding myself probably way more overcautious than I should be. But, you know, I think it's all part of the process. So we've had this leg down here with a break. We're going a bit sideways here, so, you know, you may argue we have something like that. If we get a push up there and a bearish bar, we get a second leg down. But you just don't know. It's tempting. There's always those doubts, isn't there? It's very easy when something happens to go, oh yeah, I should have taken that. But when you've got to make the decision, Yeah, see that bar there for me is just a little bit of a no-no just at the moment because it has pushed up. I wouldn't even necessarily call it a fell breakout really because it hasn't really broken out. It's gone above it, but it's closed back in it. So at the moment, I would have to go a little bit higher before thinking about going short. But as that little channel's played out already, what I really should be doing is just giving it a little bit of a wide berth because you never know whether we're going to do this. It's just, it's frustrating, really. But you just have to kind of do the best you can and learn from your mistakes. Mistakes are great levelers. They really do teach you. But I don't like taking them. To be fair, I still never quite got comfortable with taking. I wonder if you ever really do. But so the trouble is with this, if this is a channel, this now is right in the middle of this upper section of it. So is that a good place? Now just short it because we've broken out of this, and is it going to go down? Trouble is where we are now, we've got nothing left to the lows. Tough one, isn't it? It could trigger us and come back up here. There's just not enough space to the lows, in all fairness. The bar ain't finished yet. It's already 11 ticks. And it's just same again. It's turning, isn't it? So what I will say is we're certainly bearish at the moment. It's always important to remember at the moment we are really still looking for shorts. Trouble is days like this, when you're getting these little pullbacks, I get nervous because I'm thinking how much further can it go? The more it goes, the more you think you're going to get caught when it decides to turn. But some days it just never seems to want to stop. You're thinking, who the hell's buying this high? So we push down, we have a little bit of sideways, we have a breakout. Where's this going? Doesn't look like it's in a hurry to turn. There are orders at 52, which is funnily enough right where we are now, and not much further up. So my guess is I would have to wait for a lower high. It's gone a little bit too far to treat that for me as a breakout because we haven't got quite to the top of the range, the channel. It may trigger you and push up a bit higher. But if we get a lower high, if that finishes like that, we get a lower high, I think that will be safe to take. It's picked those orders up at what's it? So if I can look at them up here, this is how I'm reading this. There's still a few more there, but there's not much above it. So I'm guessing it's probably going to work down towards more of the orders, which I'd say is kind of probably head down to this area, 45, which is below here, which is kind of where you'd expect it to. But this isn't a magic bullet. I just use this as a more where not to get in. But at the moment, with these orders close to where we are, this is probably where I want to be thinking about getting in. I wouldn't just want to jump in there, although it may work. Because there is orders just above there, it may decide just to pop a little bit higher. But if there's enough aggressive sellers as well, it may not get back. The aggressive sellers are more or less the same as the buyers at the moment. They're creeping a bit higher, so if that does push higher, this thing will just drop a bit more. It is creeping up a bit, but I don't like the way it's flickering around. And those orders, looks like traders are dropping orders there just above this, so it may push a bit higher. There is no magic bullet, really, is there? You've just kind of do the best you can. But with those orders there and not a lot above it, it may hit them. It depends a lot about the aggressive sellers. If people just decide to start selling heavily, then it won't get back up there. But all of a sudden, look at this now. See, so you'd have to be a bit careful. So that's why I use Bookmap where to stay out of a trade. And based on the decision I made there, it was a good idea. It hasn't broken above it yet, but I'll be surprised if it doesn't. So that's how I use Bookmap, really, not necessarily where to get in, where to stay out of. So if I'd have taken that, I think I'd be looking at a loss now. Push down, sideways, breakout, channel, close to the top of the channel. It's very tempting to take that. But if you do, I think it's a good chance that's going to be a loser. Yeah. So that's how I use Bookmap, really, just more to stay out of a trade. So we're at this trend channel now, the top of it. There are a few orders above, not mass, so we just need to figure out what it wants to do there. So if we look at this, we've got a channel there with a break and a new high. So that channel's played out. We could get 2 legs up, so we need to figure out what it wants to do, really. There are orders at 50, quite strong orders at 50, so perhaps people are saying if it gets back down here, I'll buy some more, but with this, you've got to start paying attention to this now, I think, but we could get that. But then if we break above there, we may get a load of aggressive sellers. You know, if trading was easy, you'd be able to make a fortune. So that's an inside bar now, so it just doesn't interest me. We got a channel with a break and a new high. We are obviously seem to be struggling to get above there, which you'd probably expect. Yeah, sorry, Matt, I didn't see you. Yeah, you have a good day too, bud. Sorry, Matt, I didn't see that. So channel up. Let's have a look. The only bit that does concern me is we're coming from the top to the bottom, from the top to the bottom, from the top. We only got so far down. We couldn't get below there. So if you're going to get a break of it, this may be where it may happen. That's how I tend to look at things. So we may get something like that. It's hard to say. I may not even have the right channel. There's a few discrepancies. But the fact that we only got just below that midline would tell me just to be a little bit careful. Mind you, having said that, we did there. We kind of went sideways and then we dropped. So now all of a sudden, are we finding a bit of support here? It does look like it's trying. Yeah, trouble is you get an inside bar and then all of a sudden it drops. What can you do? Nothing you can do. See, Thomas Wade. This is Thomas Wade. He's basically looking for the same as me. He's looking for a lower high, but it's kind of just how it is. But there again, now we're kind of finding some support there. You have to just do the best you can, really. But considering lower high, exactly what I was looking for. And then all of a sudden now we push up. But if trading was easy, everyone would be doing it and making a fortune. But I kind of like the fact that it is difficult, because when you can start to make money from it, you've really earned your spot. You really have. It's not an easy job to learn this. It takes a hell of a long time. And it's a painful learning experience as well. It certainly was in my case. See, I've not even got nothing on my second chart, really. Trouble is, it didn't take off then. Maybe because of this. But then down we go. What can you do, really? I'd like a little couple of legs up here. Trouble is, if we bounce here and have a couple of legs up, is it going to find its way down? It's finding a bit of trouble getting through that lot, which I suppose you'd expect. But, I mean, the overall picture is down, isn't it? Currently, anyway, so... but yeah, it's just finding a bit of struggling just a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we have a little break here. I think if you sold here, some traders were probably taking some profits here. So as we've got a bit of support, you'd probably expect. I can see some orders around about 50 as well, which is up whereabouts that EMA. So you took that, did you? Because the fail second entry long, yeah. So channel down. Trouble is now, it's going a bit. Mind you, it went sideways there and continued down. It went sideways there and continued down, and it's going sideways here. So there's no reason why it couldn't continue down. How high is it going to get? No runner though. Yeah, do you know what? With Mac only going for a point, I see so many of his runners get taken out. Whereas if he went for 2 points, half of them he would still keep. Trouble is, it's a lot. It's if you take a trade here, a lot of the times it'll come down so far, come back, take your run, give you your profit, take your runner out, and then continue down. Whereas if you're taking your profits down here after we've moved another bar, chances are then it won't come back and get you your runner. So not only will you make 50% more of your money, I never, and I mean never, see, well, I say that. A lot of times he marks trades that only maybe go for 6 ticks, but if you look at Thomas Wade's or Dan's or Marco's, traders like that, you'll rarely see a trade that didn't make at least 2 points. So going from a point to 2 point, you're making 100%. Even if it works every third trade, you're still going to be in profit. And by going for 2 points, if you have got a runner, you've got much more chance of holding on to your runner. So I really don't know, after all these years, why Max still only goes for a point. He's obviously aware of how much further he goes. Obviously, he's set in his ways. But I know even people like Dan and Marco now go for 6 ticks. I'm pretty sure Thomas Wade, when he started, he went for a point. Now he's kind of similar to me. He tends to go for, I think if the ATR is low, 2 points, but I think 2 points minimum. But I think in majority of cases he goes 10 ticks to 3 points, which I think is about right. And I do like the fact that it works out around about 1-to-1, so it's less of a mental barrier after a loss. You know, if you think your next trade is a winner, you more or less, counteracted that. So I just can't bring myself to go for a point. For me personally, it's a no-brainer. I wouldn't do it. And not only that, I think it's detrimental when you start learning it, because, if you manage to get 4 winners in a row, you lose your 5th one, you can be in the red. So it's just too detrimental, I think. I think 2 is a good starting point, but that is my personal opinion. Not, I understand not everyone, thinks the same way. And there's probably reasons for it, but, same with your runners. Some people try and get a bigger runner. Other people just move it up every bar. So, everyone's different. We all look at risk slightly different. But then look, it comes down all of a sudden. Once it gets below here, look how easy it got then. We just dropped. So it's obviously struggled a little bit there, and we had a little break, which I expected. It didn't give us enough of a pullback to get in. All of a sudden, then just as soon as it gets below that bar there, it just dropped. It got easier. So we're bearish, aren't we, at the moment? Nothing more, nothing less. The trouble is, when it's doing this, all I'm thinking is, how much further is it going to go? And I just find it hard getting into trades the further it goes up. But the trouble is, when it's like this as well, it's often so slow. It's brutal. I think I need to sort of being able to just start to relax when I'm in a trade. But all I want to do is get in it and get out of it. So nothing we can do now until it gets back into this section, really. Unfortunately, I did take a trade. I think I mentioned it earlier. Where was it? Here. That one there. I took a trade. It kept going and going. We had that push up like that. We had two legs back. And then we had the higher low. And I'm thinking, there's bears there, probably, maybe there, maybe up here, maybe there. And it just took its time, but it worked in the end. I got out for 2 points. I didn't want to hold for 3. Once it starts to go sideways, you start to ask yourself all the questions. But it did work in the end, and I had nothing to worry about, really. It carried on for another 15 points without any great difficulty. I mean, if I'd have waited for me 3 points, I got out of the top there for 2 points. But if I'd have waited a few seconds later, I'd have got me. But at least I got something anyway. I was pleased to get something because it's been a bit of a quiet week for me. So we broke below here, and now we're moving back up. How much further can this thing go? So channel break, new low. So be looking for shorts again here, but that's moving up pretty sharpish. When you look at a chart, you wouldn't think it would be that difficult to catch a move, but it's surprisingly hard. So I'm going to draw that like that. On here, slightly different. Okay, we're at the crucial part now. What do we do? The only thing we can do is wait for a lower high. Trouble is, didn't get one here, didn't get one here, didn't get one here, didn't get one here. It's too late, that was. There was a failure there, but I wasn't too sure. I was still waiting for that possible push up, so I gave that one a miss, but it actually worked really well. But it's very tempting. It's very tempting just to jump in there. But my experience is when you do that, that's the one time it decides to have a break. It's in a great position. It is, but you have to wait for the lower high, I think. It's not a second entry short or anything. Yes, it's off the key entry point, but it'll be that one time, and I've done it so many times, it'll trigger you, push up, stop you out. But sometimes it'll just trigger it and down it'll come. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. can you do? See if we get a lower high. See if we get a lower high, it's going to have to break above there, which may mean it hits that. So I'm going to get an order ready. It might be easy to break above there, actually, but let's just get an order up here just
Order
in
submitted.
case. But I don't think it will. I think it's just going to slowly drop, I think. A lot of traders they'll just see it hit here and they'll put orders here. If you'd have done that there, put a stop up here, doubled your money, it would have worked. What can you do? Trouble is, because I just can't see it pushing up here, because it's too close to this highs. I think it'll slowly grind and drop. You know, mind you, if we go a bit sideways there and get a break above there, it doesn't necessarily need to break above there. It would need to close here relatively quick and push above and give us a lower high. Trouble is, I don't like the way it's starting to stack a little bit. Hopefully it closes soon. So there are orders at 50, which is here. Which is there. Whether it'll get that high or not. No, in fact, they're starting to dip. There are orders down here, so my guess is it's going to drop certainly down to at least here, but I'm just hoping we get a little tick above this. That will give us a second entry short stroke lower high. It will have to click above there, though. Will it? I think it's always nicer if it's a bullish bar and it triggers it, because when it comes down, it's got something to pick up liquidity-wise. Go on, have a tick up. There we go. Now turn. You could probably take this on an engulfing, but I'm going to wait, actually. Trouble is, their orders at 50, so it may push above here. I don't think it will. Trouble is, depending on how this finishes, it's stacking up now. It's going a bit sideways, so it would have to come down here close to this low for me. No, it's just, I don't like this. It may pop above here. I can see those orders. They're slightly higher. Stack it up now. It may just drop. As we're respected in this line, it may just drop, but seeing orders above this bar here, I would have to wait. It just depends whether we're going to get enough aggressive orders to push this thing down. Trouble is, we haven't got a setup now. You'd have to wait for the failure, but then I think when it gets below here, it's just going to start to push down. There's nothing you can do, unfortunately. You jump in here, you get crucified. What can you do? It did look like it was finding enough support there, and once that finishes like that, I can't see that doing anything bar continuing down personally, but what can you do? Some of those orders have gone up here now. There's some at 50, which is still below here. If this finishes bearish, my gut feeling it's probably just going to continue down, but I can't take that. It's 13 ticks for a start. Tick above, tick below. You never know whether we're going to get this. Let's see if we get a failure. That might be the better option. Which should kind of be like a breakout pullback. A little bit of sideways breakout, pull back, maybe trap some longs, trigger above it, give us a failure down. It may just drop though. My experience of these, once they start to go, they just continue down. It did here, and it did here, and it did here. You never know. See, if there's a channel here, we may get a second entry long. It may come above here. Now, obviously, the bias is down. Now, this is something we haven't had here, 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 or here. So, I think even with a failure here, it's risky. Now it looks like a bit of a bull flag, so we may get a quick pump up above there.
Order cancelled.
See, what I will say, that bearish bar there triggered. And now we've pushed up, but we've stopped here. So that may hold. I don't think it will. If it pushes above there, it may hit that high there. So we've got a channel with a break and a new high. So it may push above there. So there's nothing you can do here, really. I have a feeling that's going to go, especially when it starts to go sideways there. So we've got a channel with a break and a new high. I'll be shocked if it doesn't break above there. That's why I didn't want to get in anywhere there. It's very tempting to see that go down and think, here we go, let's get in. What happens? Triggers you out for a tick, pushes up, takes you out, and then takes that one out as well, just to be sure, just to rub your nose in it. So we've got a channel with a break, new high. So I like that. I'd be looking for a triple test here somewhere. Maybe sort of here. There's liquidity here and here, so I would like it maybe 2 legs up, something here, possibly a bit higher. Now, with a channel that big, I wouldn't expect to break that small just to come straight down. I'd expect it to push at least to here. It's going to find support up here. If you look left there, there's some there, some there, so I'd like to see 2 legs. Maybe hit this area for a move down. And that would give us a couple of legs, I'm guessing. So leg there, and that's taken us right to where we need to be. So I just couldn't take a short there at the moment, especially after we've triggered above there. For me, this is going to push a bit higher. So nothing you can do there, really. So this is where I'd expect it to go. Let's get rid of that. Taking out this area, possibly this, but that will give us 1, 2, 3 triple test. So if we can get a short up here, we've got a nice channel down, nice measured move. Could catch a nice move down there. So this is where I'll be looking for something like that. Down there. That's what I'd be thinking, something like that. I like that channel. I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Sorry about that. Shh. Newspaper lady. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think it's respected that enough. We've got this bounce here, and that'll, if we put that there like that, there's that bounce and there. So this, I think, is all going to tie into this area. You can see it there, you can see it there, you can see it there. 2 legs up. This is the area where I'll be looking for a move down. And more or less, this is kind of the overnight, I think. The overnight. I think that bar comes down here. So you've got the overnight lows there. So we're bouncing off the overnight lows. So looking for a short up here somewhere. Fingers crossed. And that would be a second entry short, possibly. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. So you just never know. So let's get an order just in case.
Order submitted.
Whether it'll get to the top. Sometimes it doesn't even get there. But I can see orders there just under 50, above 55 and 56-ish area. So around about here, there are short orders up here. Trouble is, you don't want to be too premature, and you don't want to be too, I think the tendency is to wait for a, see, if it breaks above here and here, I'll probably take it on a bearish bar. If it doesn't, I'd want a lower high. Trouble is, once it gets here and it starts to turn, it may just, it's relatively clear, so it may start to move quite quick. And that's frustrating, really. Especially when you want to go to the bathroom. Okay. So I'd like to see it break above there and there, preferably. Okay, so there's some orders at 57 here. So we'll say, so move down 2 legs up. Trouble is, because they're not very far apart, there's always that possibility that they could be a channel. Whereas if they're kind of far apart, there's no getting it wrong. So that's what makes me a little bit nervous about this. Having said that, as we've had this quite clear channel below, okay, that's interesting. See if that triggers. I'll be looking for a lower high there. As we've had the channel down here, I'd still expect it to break the lows. We've broken above there as well, I think. So I'll be looking for a lower high. We've had this channel down there, so have we broken above that? We have, yeah. I do like the fact that we've got support here, here and here. That'll help our cause, I think. It's tough on this. There's quite a lot of orders forming up here.
Order
Okay, I'm just going to
canceled.
take a bathroom break. I'll be a second. Okay. So, what has it got? And it's mine now. See, I've got, if I look on Bookmap, there are orders up here. Can't see what that is. 60, 62. It's around about 63, 64, which is up here. So, how high is it going to go? It may not. It could completely turn. Who knows? So, I don't think that I would be thinking about a wider channel just yet. It may be, in fact, if I keep it on both sides. But I think it's more like this personally. Trouble is, it's very easy to think about taking a short here, and then all of a sudden it bounces off a possible channel and goes higher. My thought process is down at the moment, but I'm not naive enough to know that I shouldn't just assume it's going to be that easy. We jump in with a sell order there and down it shoots. I've done that before. It's very easy to get focused on a certain direction and just keep open-minded that you just never quite know. You know, we may just have hit a level down here that buyers are coming in, and it may just start to continue on up. You never quite know. Sometimes when I've seen channels like this and I'm thinking it has to make a new low, and I'm constantly focusing on any half decent setup, and as soon as you jump in, it triggers you and starts to go up, and you're thinking why? But sorry, mate, I've missed all those conversation here. Sorry, bud, I missed your chat now. I was just focusing and talking, thinking about myself as usual. So there is support there and resistance, as we can see it there. So channel break new high. If we can get below it, once I think traders sort of quite aware this thing's likely to go down, I'm guessing it's going to go pretty quickly. But I think you still have to be aware that there's always a possibility that it may react here. My gut feeling is it's probably going to work down, but I tend to just sort of keep open-minded. Okay, is this ready to come down? I'm not so sure just yet. We could have a second entry long and it may go higher. I'd like to just, unfortunately, wait for the failure. Just in case, because if this is a channel on the left, we've pushed up, 2 legs back and moved up. We could do the same. So I don't want to assume that. Not only that, the bar's massive and we're actually at the EMA now. It may just come careering down, but I'm not just trusting that for 18 ticks. The trouble is, if you jump in there, it may trigger you and push up and stop you out. If you do nothing, the thing just drops. There's nothing you can do. It's just one of those things. See, if we look on this chart now, if all of a sudden, when this 2000 tick chart finishes, this bullish bar's up here, we may be thinking we made a mistake there, but I think the failure is the safest option. But are we going to get one? It's hard to say. I'm going to get an order here just in case, but I'd like to see that push up first, but then you just got to be careful, I think. You just never know. It may shoot up, take all these out, or it may turn. Could end up being something like that. It may hit this line and move down, but there's just not much you can really do here, unfortunately. My experience is if you're a bit too hasty and you make an assumption, it can crucify you. You've just got to wait for some form of confirmation. But a big bearish bar like that, all of a sudden to start pulling back, you've got to be careful. Sometimes it'll do that, but my experience is these markets, they never make it easy for you. They're always going to punish and make you suffer. Having 2 legs up for that to start rocketing down there is just too easy. I'm not saying it won't happen, but never just assume. Sometimes I think if you do the complete opposite, you got just as much chance. Yeah, it's hard to say, really, isn't it? You just don't know. Thomas Wade has basically got the same as me. I think he's looking at that possibility. So it's just one of those things, isn't it? Yeah. What can you do? See if I'm looking at Dan. He's got a break of it already, so you don't know whether this is going to turn. So I don't know. I think there's a wider channel there personally, but it's just hard to say. You just never really know. You just have to kind of make the best decision you can. But I like the fact that visually looks right. And I like the fact that it's working around the midline there and here and here. It's never perfect. But what can you do? Well, we'll know at the end of the day what happened. See, on this chart, there's a possible failure, but there's a second entry long. It might trigger that bar, that bearish bar, and move up and give you a higher low. So it's too tricky around here. I think there's too much guesswork at the moment. It may well... There's a failure there. See, possible longs trap there, but it may trigger that push up. Who knows? Okay, so it's triggered that bear bar. Now what's it going to do? Push up or come down? We don't know. And judging by the way it's just sitting there, I think there's... who knows? I wouldn't be shocked if it goes up. But we may be... I don't know. Is the answer. It's actually it's going nowhere at the moment. There's obviously there's certainly some uncertainty. There's just not much you can do, really. I wouldn't want to go short or long here. I'll save that for people with people that like taking a chance. But look how it's more or less closing where it opened, I think. Okay, so it's dropped about a tick or two. So it does look like the shorts may win over. You just never know. It may just turn. There may be shorts getting here. All of a sudden, woof, up it goes. Could do either or, really, couldn't it? This is a bit of a toss of a coin at the moment. Not only that, we have this down here. There's always a possibility we may end up doing something like that. Because this is the break, isn't it? We may end up doing something like that and then down. It's hard to know. It could just shoot up. I wouldn't be shocked. You think how many? There's bound to be shorts there. There'll be shorts there, possibly there as well. Could be a second entry short there. Testing this line twice. I really don't know, to be honest with you. I'm going to leave the decision making to the brave people. Let's get rid of that. Break above there, then possibly there, then there. It could pop in a certain direction, couldn't it? Just going to bend that.
Order canceled.
So, are we testing this line and then it's going to go down, or is it going to shoot up and kill that and that? You'd have to. The trouble is, if I'm looking at Bookmap, there are a lot of orders above here. There are strong orders around about 57-ish, which is above here, and there are some quite further up, up as far as 65, which is kind of up this area. So we may get a second leg up, or it could just turn. Unfortunately, we don't really know. If we did, we'd all be rich, wouldn't we? Okay. Possible second entry short. Now, if you like that channel, a short might not be the good idea. So, if it does get below here, it may do it in a hurry. See, this is when you want an OCO order. Or have an account with Apex, an account with a Top Step or something like that. Long on one, short on the other. Does look like it's trying to push up. If it gets above here, then I'd expect it to come up for another leg. It looks like it's certainly trying. If it gets above here, I think it'll do it with a quick spike, because there's bound to be buyers to ride that down. So if it gets above here, I think it'll do it with a bit of speed. Certainly above here as well. If it hits that, I think it'll have a quick crack up. Lost it. Where'd you go here? Yeah, it's just too dangerous to go in here at the moment. My experience is when it starts to do this, can't figure out what it's going to do. I try not to assume the obvious. The obvious would be to go short, I think. We see this coming down. As soon as we've got a break, we're looking for a short. Now, in some cases, that's the kind of the right thing to do. But because we've had such a big move down, I'd expect more than that. Now, sometimes it just does it. But my gut instinct would be it's more likely going to have a break and then another leg or a couple of legs, which would take us up to this area. So that's what I expect. So if it's a smaller channel, smaller break, and kind of vice versa, a channel like this, small channel, small break, new high, small channel, small break, new low. But obviously, the larger, the bigger the break. Probably not the best example, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so I just don't assume anymore. So many times in the past, I'd be looking for a short any old way and I get crucified. But if it gets above there, it's going to be better. Mind you, we could bounce here 3 times and come down. There's so many different scenarios. It's just, you never know, this might just drop. And you just never know, really. See, Bookmap will show you where there are orders, but it's the aggressive orders that just decide to buy or sell that you can't predict. Otherwise, it'd be easy. Or easier. So yeah, take it. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you take trades that don't go that go against you, you learn things, and it's the only really true way to learn to trade, isn't it? By making mistakes. I used to hate them, and most people just focus on all the negative side, how it makes you feel when things go wrong. But what you're tending to forget is every time something goes wrong, you're learning, but you're not focusing on that side of it, because learning really doesn't so much cause you the pain. Learning the skills, that just kind of comes along for the ride. It's all the, it's when things are going wrong, it's making you feel crappy. But you tend to forget in the background that skill level is constantly improving. So as that skill level starts to improve, those emotions will start to drop. So whereas your skill level's down here and your emotion level down, kind of up here when you're new, after a period of time, as that skill tends to improve, you get a little bit more confidence in understanding it, and those emotions tend to tip, and you get that sort of that balance in. And when it starts to tip, then you start to sort of make money a little bit, and things start to get a little bit better. But you still have days like this where But I think I've learned when it's doing this and very slowly, always just take precaution and stay out. You've got very few guarantees in trading, but one guarantee you've got, and you'll always have, is if you don't take a trade, you won't lose a penny. And when it's really slowly going like this, it could go either way. And it's more a toss of a coin. You're thinking 1 minute we're a tick away from the tops there. You're thinking if it hits here, any shorts there are going to get stopped out. But sometimes it just doesn't. If there's enough short stops there, and that people may be adding to that, continually applying that downward pressure. But it's what can you do? We may just come back to the EMA and it may have another go, or it could launch down. Oh, I don't know. I do hate it when it's slow though. So you may be saying, okay, maybe this is a triple test. It seemed to be finding it going down a bit easier now. If it gets below that, for instance, and that, it should become a bit easier then, I think. But then you don't know, because of the bigger move, you don't know whether we're going to have a move up, a correction, and then a second leg up. And then it might find its way down. You just don't know. Excuse me. I suppose that's interesting that it's clearly finding an area where it's struggling. It hit that area and then started to pull back. So maybe it's finding something there. But if it gets below there, it'll be a lot easier then, I think. Certainly down to these lows, but then you may get 2 legs in it and then a second move up. You do. Oh, it will be worse. You say government close. I said, yeah, 2 in and out. Yeah. I found it a bit of a tricky week, actually. Fortunately, I got a trade in the afternoon. Well, later in the evening, I came back for about 45 minutes. I do sometimes if I don't get a trade. I used to try and avoid it because I never used to trade well, but I just sit and wait now. If I see a trade, I just take it. If I don't, I just leave it alone. So where are we? 5 o'clock. So it's taken 25 minutes just to do that. I hate it when it's slow. I'd rather either go up or come down and just give us a bit of peace. So you can see that clearly there, can't you? Same again, it bounced there and we're struggling again. So is it going to go down? Clearly see that we've pushed above it, pushed below it, bounced. And we could still do this and then up a bit more and then down. See, all of a sudden you see a bearish bar here now. Tendency is to jump in. What happens? Triggers you, pushes up, stops you out. Whether it will or not, I don't know. I'm guessing it probably will. Market's got a habit of doing that, hasn't it? Get a bullish bar, trigger you, come down, stop you out. Bearish bar, trigger you, push, stop you out. My guess is it's probably going to take maybe another push up first before it comes down. It'd be interesting to see what it gets above here. That for me is a key. How this thing moves out. There's a big bearish bar there after a break. If it breaks above there, my gut is it's probably likely going to work a bit higher before it still comes down. I'm still thinking bearish at the moment. This isn't pushing up. This isn't like a reversal for me. I think this is still going to come down and clear these areas. Certainly here. It's just when it decides to do that. If you can get above here, then I think it'll probably push for above here as well, and then maybe get closer to this. I don't know really. I'm just shooting the shit, so to speak. But it's getting a bit trappy, isn't it? So he's having a bit of a pump. Bitcoin is about all-time highs again, I think. Nearly. Touch off, a few thousand off. See, everything's been moving up lately, with the exception of today. This is crunch for me. If it gets above here, that'll change the dynamics, I think. There's a possible higher low forming. It's going to be a bit difficult to get over there. But if it can, I think it'll top this out, maybe go a bit higher. I think really these two push up and that big short, I think that's too easy to ride down. It's too easy, too obvious, I think. So I'm still swinging towards it, pushing above there. I don't think, I mean, it was a big bar anyway, but how far did it go? So 2 points. So depending on where you got in. But I suppose there'll be traders thinking this thing's going to just move down like lightning, but it's just looks a bit too easy for me, that. And I'll be surprised if this has gone sideways with a slight bullish air to it without at least breaking above there, but you never know. Monday and Friday, good for off. More slow days, yeah. One trade X. In fact, there is a isn't Ninja Trader doing something with the prop firms? Aren't they doing their own kind of data, like as opposed to Rhythmic and Tradeovate? I think I'm sure I saw something. You would expect that to be a little bit better because sometimes, especially between Rhythmic and Ninja Trader, it never tends to work as smoothly, does it? But if there's excuse me. If Ninja Trader, mind you, whenever they have these new things, there's always a little bit of a teething problems. But it would be nice if we could just use Ninja Trader and their own data and then trade each prop firm at the same time, you know, through the same lines of data, hopefully. You'd expect Ninja Trader to be pretty good at something like that, obviously. It'd be nice if it would be nice if it was simplified for us, but obviously with the, you know, these prop firms and all this sort of thing, things are going to get easier for us, you'd expect. Just makes you think who's going to give in first. Minute it looks like it's coming down, next minute it looks like it's pushing up. But that's the key for me. Okay, so there's a bullish bar there. There's another bullish bar there, which is triggered, hasn't stopped out. Another bullish bar there, that hasn't triggered, but the higher low's now triggered. So, but then are we going to have a triple test if it pushes above here? I'll be surprised if it doesn't break above here. Excuse me, just a sec. Okay, things might get a bit easier now. Sorry about that. I was just talking to my wife. Okay, so is that a triple test, or are we going to trigger that and push up? It's hard to say. But it got up there, but it couldn't get above there. So it's still a bit too risky what to do. There's nothing you can do here, really. It's a bit hit and miss. Could drop. But yeah, it went right up to there and then turned. So if it gets below there, it'll get easier. But we've got a channel down with a couple. There is a triple test. Would I want to take that? Not really. I was tempted, but I think, I don't know. I still think this may push higher. We'll see. It looks like it may come down. I mean, it is a triple test, I will say. I mean, the thing may just launch in a minute. If it gets below there, any of these lows, it may launch. It is looking like it's trying, but is it over yet? Who knows? Is it over yet? There's definitely a battle going on, and it may not be over yet. Now, all of a sudden on this one, we've come down to that AMA, stopped. Or have we? I have a feeling this may go on for a while. How long we've been going for? So it's 5 o'clock there. So what time are we now? So it's 45 minutes there. So yeah, it's taking its time. Doesn't to me look like this is going to take off into an uptrend. I still think it's probably going to come down to these lows, but it may just push a bit higher. Now, if you want to sell this market down to the lows, probably going to be this area where you're going to want to do it. You would have said so. But I think people are going to probably, traders shorting this are probably going to be more comfortable shorting above this line. See, all of a sudden it's coming down, and next minute it's starting to push back up. Gets below that bar there, for me, things will get easier. Gets below there, it'll get a bit easier, I think. Nearly. That'll take a certain amount out of the game, so that might take a little bit of pressure off. Okay, I think that's relieved some of the pressure. Leg up, 2 legs back. So once it got below that line, it was always going to get a bit easier. So Trouble is, there's always a possibility, because of the size of the move down, we do this and then push up a bit higher before it pushes down. I don't know, really. I wouldn't automatically be jumping in short here. Not today, bud. No. I took one yesterday afternoon. Excuse me a sec. Sorry about that. I took one yesterday afternoon. In the end, it's just not been an easy day, really. Doing too many ifs and buts, really. So we got 2 legs down. We've hit this area and then pushed up quite quickly. So I just don't know at the moment, in all fairness. I'm about, let's say, if I can get about my accounts are around about 2,000 to 2,300. I got to get to 3,000. I'm trading my Apex accounts at 2 contracts, and the Traderfy accounts at 1 contract. So hopefully they should all be around about, the Traderfy account should be at 3,000, and the Apex account should be about 4,000. So I would say probably about another 6 winning trades. So I don't mind how long it takes me, whether it takes me another month, I don't really mind. And then I should be able to withdraw about 19,000, 20,000, but they take 1,000 of it. The Traderfy. So I'm just trying to focus on waiting for setups, and when I get there, I get there. I think for the first time, I'm trying not to take any risks and try not to rush it and just focus on the process. But I've had these accounts now for about 6 weeks, and I've got to 2,000 now. Bearing in mind, I was in hospital for a few days, so I didn't trade, and I had surgery and a couple of days off, sort of ill. So I suppose realistically 5 weeks, but to get to $2,000 in 5 weeks, I'm more than pleased with. If I can average around about $250 per account per week, that's $1,000 a month. If you've got 20 accounts, you can earn plenty of money. But I've actually exceeded that. So, and I think I've been a bit overcautious. So, I'm okay at the moment. I'm in a comfortable place. I'm playing the game correctly. And so far it's I'm not doing something stupid. This is so hard to know what's going on here, really. A channel down there, but I wouldn't just want to take that. Trouble is, even when it broke below there, it's still trying to push up. You think once it broke some of these, it would find it a lot easier. I'll show you, bud. So these are my accounts at the moment. Excuse me. So I've got 5 from Apex. It looks 6, but that's a sim. And 5 from Traderfy. But I think the lowest one is, there's $50 off. And the highest Apex one is 360. I've got a couple at 360, 360. So they're okay. They're about 20. There's about 23,000 something like in there. So they're all nice at the moment. But I'm just playing the game. But I'm trading these at 2 contracts and these at 1. So these have got to go up, say, another 1,000, which means these will go up 2,000, which will put me at a place where I can, kind of take a nice payment out. So yeah, so all good at the moment. If I pay my rent, yeah. Yeah, I can pay my rent. Don't worry about that. still think that'll go up. Yeah, I still had some good payments. I mean, what I've had this year, I'd say my affiliate money is paid for me expenses. So far this year, I'm up about 33,000. And we've still got a few months left. If I can get to this next payment, that'll put me over 50, 53-ish, 52 for the year, something like that, with a little bit left. So yeah, I'm okay. We're okay. I've got a little savings tucked away. Wife earns pretty well. So we're getting a lot of bearish bars up here, but when we trigger them, we're not really going that far. It's tempting to do something like this, but I just don't know. This line here concerns me. I just don't know whether it's going to push above here, because this will change the dynamics, I think. So this, for me, really, this is just the break. So I'd like to test this area, and if we do, we'll push above there, because I bet there'll be some shorts there. But I'd like to see this push above and then maybe find its way down. But I don't. This is just I don't enjoy trading when it's all like this, but you can clearly see support and resistance along there, which were kind of, rattling above and below. The trick is really, if you just follow the rules and don't do anything stupid and don't move your stop, it'll eventually work. I've made enough money to know I can trade. I haven't done anything stupid, and I'm $2,000 up over 10 accounts. So you're not really going to be lucky and do that. You might get away with it for a little while, but so I know I can trade. I've got the confidence and self-belief now. I'm just trying to just fend off that last little bit of panic when things go wrong. But the secret is if the losses don't do you any real damage, you'll recover and move on and make money. I need to just work. There are things where I need to work on. I need to, when I see a good setup, I need to just leave it and let it alone. And as Max says, don't monkey with your trades. One thing I like about Thomas Wade is when he gets into a trade, he just generally leaves it. He very rarely gets out early, very rarely. And I'm pretty sure I will be better off financially if I'd have just left every trade, because I'd say when I get out of a trade, probably 3 out of 4 of them go on to work, maybe a bit more. So, if I believe in the setup, I need to leave it. Now, obviously, when it starts doing this for 20 minutes, that may be a good cause to just get out of a trade. What I'm noticing it now, it's flickering around a little bit, so I don't think it'll be long before it either gets above here or down here. It's starting to flick a little bit. That usually is a good indication it's going to break. Come on. Okay, so it is starting to flicker. I think it may get above there now. I think it's going to have a quick flick up. Oh, it's bouncing off that line again. It's already done it once. Is it going to go through? I think it will. Okay, we're through now. Sometimes it takes a little bit before it goes. Depends where you put your stop in if you're there, whether you put your stop here. So it may push up a little bit higher. Yeah. you would think even there, that would probably be the natural place to put your stop. So are we going to get above there and then push up towards this level? It's hard to say. It's a chunk of orders at 60, a big chunk of orders. Okay, this is it, I think. Well, that wasn't quite as exciting as I was expecting it to be. Okay, yeah. I thought it was going to be a little bit more dramatic than that. So this may be the leg and the leg. And then down. I still think this thing will come down. So a leg up with a correction and a leg up and then a move down. It may get as high as here, I think. The highest orders I can see they're at 65, which is basically just above that bar there, I say. But I still think this thing will come down. It's just taking forever. So somewhere around about there. That's where I think. Yeah, somewhere around about there. It's been a slow day, certainly a slow afternoon. Excuse me just a second. Can't really do anything here, really, to be honest with you. So channel break new high. I'd expect it to get a little bit higher. I can see orders at 61, 62, which is around about where that measured move is. There are some at 65, which is up here, whether it'll get that high, but I certainly expect it to get to there before I think it will probably start to work down. Trouble is, it's very easy to count that as a second leg. I don't think it is. It just looks like a move up to me. We're struggling. That's a leg up with a correction and then a second leg up. So that's the two legs I'd expect after such a big channel down. So once it gets up here, I'll be quite comfortable then looking for something short. That's if it comes short. You never quite know. These legs are wide enough for it to be not to be confused with a channel for me. It's possible. I don't think so. It's acting like a leg with a correction and a leg to me. And after seeing we've had this most of the day so far, that is kind of what I'd expect. See, Jan's got a piece of software that you can put a bell up here, which will give you an audible alarm. Since I've reloaded this new computer, I haven't put it on. I'm gonna have to have a look for it. But if you're waiting for price to hit here and it's slow, you can put a line in. It'll give you an audible sound that tells you where it's here, rather than sitting for the next 20 minutes and waiting. If you wouldn't want to take a short till up here, but it's so slow, that's a good idea, that is. He's not been on for a while, Jan. I know he takes a lot of the summer off, I think. So now there is a lower high there. Now, has that got high enough? I would be a bit cautious about taking a lower high personally, because I'm seeing a lot of these orders at 61, 62, which is right where this here. So there's traders up there with shorts up there, and that makes you wonder why. Two measured legs after a big move down. So going short here, it may trigger you, touch the EMA and push up for a second leg. 65 is the highest, which is right here. So it may push a bit higher, but I wouldn't want to take a short here. It may come rocketing down, but it may push down, push below that little bull bar there, and then start to work back up. So that's the trouble. When you see a break from here, you're looking for any opportunity to get short. And it doesn't always work. Okay, so it's pushed down below that bull bar, which is what I'd expect. It may just hit that EMA and take off again. Okay, it's touched the EMA. Let's see where it goes now. As it's broken all these highs, it could still come down. That's what I mean. How high is high enough before it... there's a huge amount of sellers. well, I say huge. There's certainly a chunk of aggressive sellers getting in there. There's double the amount. So there's no guarantees. That's the trouble is it's okay having these up here, but you don't know if all of a sudden there's a load of aggressive sellers going to push this down. Buyers are starting to match them now, so you'd probably expect that at that EMA, but all of a sudden the bearish aggressive sellers double that of the bullish. Although we got these sellers with orders up here, if there's enough aggressive sellers at price now, it'll just move down. But that may be high enough, and that may be the catalyst. As we've had the leg with a correction in the leg, that may be high enough. Now it's down. Failure might be our only option now, unfortunately. So, see, a failure here, I don't think it'd be a bad idea. You can have a lot of liquidity down there. If we can get a failure here, it may come down. That might be, we kind of had a leg with a correction and another leg. Yeah, that leg hasn't pushed up as high as we'd like, but perhaps it doesn't need to. Sometimes it doesn't. Trouble is, there's a possibility it may push up and test this line again, which means if you got into a short here, it may take your stop up and then come down. But I think it's much easier with bigger stops. But unfortunately, as a Pats trader, we don't kind of use that, do we? But from a penguin point of view, 2 legs up, move below the EMA. If you're a penguin trader, that probably wouldn't be that bad if you jumped in here, put your stop, say there, on a 1-to-1. Excuse me. You're out plenty before the lows. Nice bit of quality there to aim. So if you're a penguin trader, jump in here, stop above there. In fact, I'd be inclined to probably put that a little bit higher. Put that maybe there. So you've cleared that. And then out there. Trouble is you don't know whether it'll push a bit higher. So I think really you're probably best off jumping in there, putting your stop there, and out there for a penguin setup. Gives you plenty of space up here. But funny. What time's this? Okay, this was 30 minutes ago. So this is a 500 tick chart. So we got 2 legs up there, this and a push up That's exactly what I've just shown you there. That's if that's a 500 tick chart. In fact, let's just have a look at it. So he's in there on a penguin style trade on a 1-to-1 there. So that's exactly like that. You've got the 2 legs up there, 2 legs back up here, which is that and that. He's jumped in there around about the EMA, stop above there. Is that the right one I'm looking at? It's pushed a bit higher, I think, isn't it? Stops above there. I don't know. I can't tell really. I think it took his stop out. See, I wouldn't have had my stop there probably. That's all I can see anyway. So he may have just lost that, but it's kind of working the same way, isn't it? But leg and leg. I think what he did is add 2 legs there, put his stop just above here to go down, and it came back and just took his stop out. That's what I can see anyway. This is so boring, isn't it, when it's slow? Two legs up, lower high, testing this top. It's looking more like a range now. Trouble is, a lot of times when we push up into a range, we'll push out the opposite side. What am I waiting for? With such a big channel down here, I'd expect more than just that and then come down. So if you'd have taken a trade there, it eventually stopped you out. So my gut feeling is it's likely to push up a little higher. So I've done this before. I've got into trades here before. Now, you just never know whether it's going to trigger you and then push up. I go for 3 points. So I don't jump in at any of the trades. So that trade there, if I'd have got in a tick below, it would have to hit there to get me out. I'd expect it to get back to the EMA, but that's all I'd be interested in. So I'm just sitting and waiting. I'd like to see it make a second leg up, but it's going slow. And my experience is the slower this goes, the slower up it goes, the quicker it comes down. So it just gets trappy and not nice to trade. So what you've always got to do is always only ever take what you feel is right and you feel is comfortable to do. And it just, I don't like this. It's choppy and unclear. So the simple answer is just leave it. See, this is what I'm expecting, second leg up to this level, which is why I'm not getting in. Yeah, it's a lower high. I'd expect it to get back to the EMA, but I've got to get down here. So why are you inventing a bicycle if it's already been invented? Keep changing every time. I'm not sure what you mean, mate. It doesn't really make much sense. At the moment, I'm expecting a second leg up after this move down, which is why I'm avoiding trades now. If that wasn't such a big trade, I'd be concerned with taking trades like that. But because I go for 3 points, that wouldn't have worked. So I'd have lost that trade, which is why I kind of stayed out. Now it's just chopping sideways. Yeah, we got 2 legs up and a lower high. But my feeling is this is not going to come down to the lows and push down. I'm expecting it to get to the EMA and continue higher. Not only that, I'm looking at Bookmap as well, and I can see all these bigger orders about 62, which is at this measured move. So I use this a lot for when not to get in. So it's doing what I expected it to do, get up to this. So you've always got to kind of do what you feel's right to do. Max says, don't take nothing in the middle. Yeah, it's because it's going slow as well, which this is an area of indecision. So I'm not saying it was a bad trade. It certainly worked for a scalp. It would have worked for the 3 points, but I'm just uncertain at the moment because it's chopping around. I'd like to see it get up to here first before I considered it's going down and I'm looking for a short. Give me a second. What the hell is that? Where's that come from? My wife's just sent me a bottle of 2 pictures of bottles of whiskey. Which ones do I want? Yeah, my gut feeling is this may not get below the EMA. It did, but it only got more or less to the midline before it's working up again. I just hate it when it's slow and chopping around. So I don't think this is pushing up as in a channel. It doesn't look like it to me. It looks like a leg with a correction and a leg. So I still think prices are going to come down and test the lows. See, there is a second entry short there. Trouble is, we've bounced off this midline. We've come from a breakout the top down to the midline and turned. So my gut feeling is we're going to get a second leg up. So I wouldn't take a short there. Ordinarily, you may argue that's a triple test once, twice, three times, and it may well come down. But I'm looking at that, those orders above here, 60 and above, which start one tick above that bearish signal bar, which is a second entry short. So I tend to use this where not to get into a trade. So from a Pat's point of view, you may argue it's a trade you can take. I'm just not super confident. It's just so slow as well. That always makes me a little bit nervous. It is a second entry short. You could argue it's a triple test. But it's not for me. See, how many times has it got to bounce off this before it comes down? So I'm looking at short orders there and a bit above. So I still think leg and a leg. So taking that setup, yeah, it's a second entry short. Yeah, it's a triple test. But it's triggered, come to the EMA, and it's pushed up. My gut is well, there you go, it's broken it. So if I'd have taken that triple test stroke second entry short, I'd have just lost that trade. What did I go? So if you went a tick in below, you wouldn't have even got a point out of that. So you wouldn't have even got a scalp. It's got to push through. So good example of what looks like a triple test and a second entry short, maybe a channel with a break. But another good example of what you've got to be so careful doing. And that's why I use Bookmap. It helps me out. If I'd have took that trade, channel break, new high, lower high, it wouldn't have worked. Yeah, this one would have done, but it's stacked up. But the trouble is we got possible highs here. I wouldn't want to take it. That was the only one that would have worked, but my gut feeling it was going to come to the main push high. It did, but it went a bit further, but it didn't get to the lows. Now it's pushing up to where I kind of feel I'd been more comfortable. So when it's like this and so slow, you've got to be so careful. I'd have taken that triple test, second entry short, I'd have lost a trade. I'd have lost a trade there as well. That thing was flipping massive. So what was this? It was about 4 odd points that was, I think. Tick above it, tick below it. It's 5 points. See, I'd have lost 5 points there, probably 2.5 points there. So you've got to wait till you're comfortable. And I'm looking at other traders trading pats as well, and I'm not seeing many people popping out setups. I can't see nothing. And kind of the same for Thomas Wade's, I think. Someone's gone long there anyway, but I don't know what that is, but there's just not a huge amount of trades. There's one there that you took that lower high, but he's thinking 2 legs up. So it's one of those things you have to you've always got to do what you think is right, regardless of what other people think. You know, I remember a guy who came in here a couple of years ago was saying, go short here, go long, and he was right all the time. And one time I listened to him, I ended up losing a trade. So if something doesn't feel right, it's the only way you really learn, and you learn by making mistakes, missing trades. You learn maybe not to miss them, where to see them. Getting into trades where you shouldn't done, you kind of learn. But you have to make your own decisions, because it's just, if you listen to other people, it's frustrating when it goes wrong, and you have to learn and make your mistakes. But after such a big move down, I'd like to see a bit more of a correction now. This was the initial break. We had what I think was a correction, and I'd expect another attempt to push up. And this is where I'd expect it to fall short. So, or to sort of maybe clear out some of this area before it pushes down, if it does. So if I have a look on here, and I'm looking at 65 is about the strongest I can see up there, and 65 is there. Now, where is that? One tick above. That there was a bearish bar there. There was 2 legs up. There was a lower high, whatever it is. One tick above there. There's short orders there. There's orders around 62 as well, which is a little bit hot, which is more where this measured move is. In fact, yeah, that's a tick off. So you can kind of understand the logic behind people putting orders here at certain key areas where you expect it to. But I take less trades, yeah, absolutely, but I don't lose a huge amount of them. So, I probably only averaged a few trades a week, I think, sometimes. I think I took, what am I? I'm up 1. I think I got out a little bit, but I'm the equivalent of 1.5 trades this week. Bearing in mind, I was in hospital on Monday. Last week, I didn't take much. I took about 3. I was up about $450 per account, I think, week before last. So, I'm not in too much of a hurry to grow an account. I want to do it organically, but I don't think it's difficult to average $250 per week, and on $2,500 a drawdown, that's 10% a week. I don't think it's difficult to make that, bearing in mind we're risking a little bit more because it is a proper count. But I don't think it's difficult at all. It's 2 clear winners in a week. That's over $1,000. If you've got 20 accounts, there's a stack of money you can be earning. And that's only earning, 250. You get better weeks, you earn more money, it can turn out much better. So we're getting close to this measured move now. Now, what it'll do here, I don't know. You could potentially say there's a measured move from there, in which case it may push up that little bit higher, but so there's almost as well. What am I doing? There's, in this second leg, there looks like 2 smaller legs, obviously a little bit higher, but that may be the difference from taking it to the lows. Maybe. It's hard to say at the moment. It's not rocket science. It's not an exact science, but there is 2 more legs up. So will this be the one that takes us down? Who knows? Is this another channel up? There's always a possibility. I never assume anything nowadays. But at the moment, this, for me, is slowly working up. It's put me to sleep, this is. It's not been an easy day. There's been quite a lot of down a bit, chop, down a bit, chop. Chop, chop. Not been easy. Okay, my wife's home now, so I think I'm going to knock it on the head. I started about 2 o'clock earlier, so I've done about 4.5 hours. Not been easy today. No, it's not been easy. Was it 6:30? So I think I'm done for the day. It's just been a bit of a funny old day. I haven't seen many traders take. I think Daniel took a long here. I think somewhere here. I just haven't seen many trades today, to be fair. And the trouble is, if the context is not right, you don't know. After the fact, it's easy to spot them, but, after the fact, we don't have that luxury until after the fact. So it's a tough one, but we're down to the, we're down to the email. We're pushing up again. So are we making 2 legs up? Are we just getting to this area and it may come down? I may pop back for half an hour later, but I'm going to leave it there anyway. So I appreciate your company. It's not been the easiest of days, but hopefully if you've got a setup or you do, best of luck to you. Have a great, safe evening and we'll catch up Friday, isn't it? Tomorrow? Yeah, Friday. Okay. Stay safe. We'll do it again tomorrow. Bye for now.